Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scudig or St. Croix River, the traditional territory of the Passamaquoddy, and I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I have a card for you that uses a stamp set and a die set that are both deeply discounted. So they're available while quantities last, and then they're gone forever. So I wanted to show you this card using the Storybook Moments paper and also the die cuts that come pre-made. And I hope you'll really like it. It makes your life super easy, and you can also get some of the supplies today for a deep discount. So let's have a look and do our project. All right, so here is our project for today. This is our card using the Storybook Moments paper and these pre-made die cuts that you don't have to make yourself. They're just ready to punch out. And this is the stamp set we're going to use today, which is Hot Air Balloon. Now this stamp set used to be $28, but now, because they're selling it out, it is only $16.80 Canadian. So that is a really good deal. We're also going to be using the coordinating dies that go with it, the Hot Air Balloon dies. And they are now, instead of the regular $41, they are only $16.40. So they're super, super discounted right now. So it's a really good deal. I've already had a couple of customers purchase this set because it's such a nice deal, and you can do so many things with your hot air balloon stamps. So let's get right to our project, and we will be using this cherry cobbler ink today. So I've got all my pieces cut here. Here they are, and just in case you're interested sometime in taking an online class with me, what I do is I have all the pieces pre-cut that I can for you like this. And so our projects are ready to go, and you supply the stamps and the inks. And I include everything else that you need right in your packets. I usually have a goodie bag as well, usually worth $20 or $25 of additional product that keeps you crafting after the event. So I'll be putting up some new classes in the coming weeks. My other one's just closed, but if you see something that's still on my website, just do inquire, and I'll see if I can fit you in at the last minute. So today what we're going to do is use this stamp here, which is Wish Big, and we're going to stamp that on our little die cut that we're going to make. So I'm going to put this on my block so it's ready to go. So there's my Wish Big, and we'll stamp that in cherry cobbler, but first let's do our little die cutting. So this is the die cut that we want to make, and it's so cool because it's curved. I really like that. So that is from the Hot Air Balloon set. It's this one right down here, so it makes a really nice label. So let's do that. Oh, good morning, Linda. I'm glad you could join this morning. All right, so here is the die we're going to use. And I'm going to use my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's very good to take on the road, take to the cottage, take outside to the picnic table, whatever. It's just super easy to tote around, very light, and doesn't take up much space. So here are our plates. You can see mine are really weathered, but they still work. So you put plate number 1, and then you essentially make a sandwich out of the remaining plates. You got 2 plates that are marked number 2 with the instructions right on your plates here, so you don't have to remember. So to make our little sandwich, to cut our die cut here, we're going to put a plate number 2 on the bottom. Then we're going to put our piece of paper, which is crumb cake here. I like that color a lot. And we're going to put the die on, and you want it die cut side down. So you can feel that this is kind of raised, and that's what's going to go through the rollers inside the machine. It's just rollers that press it down and make it cut through your paper for you. So there's no electricity. The other side is flat. So you want to put it cutting side down. So the side you can feel goes down, the flat side on top. And then you put your second plate on top. So we made that little sandwich between our 2 plates number 2. We've got paper and then the die cutting side down. All right, and then we're going to start feeding it through there. As soon as it catches, you're going to press down with one hand and you're going to wind it through with the other. So it's super, super simple, very quick, and very low tech. So you don't have to know anything about technology to make this work. No computers, not even anything to plug in. So there is our cute little die cut that we've made. And let's go ahead and do our other die cutting as well. Now, first of all, I did do this postage stamp one here, which is from the Perennial Postage dies. I made the paper here, and I'll show you those dies. I just did that to save us a little time on our video. So that is one of my favorite die sets. It comes with so many that nest inside each other. You can make labels, you can make tags, you can make panels like I did today, all kinds of good stuff with those dies. And if you're looking for the supply list, just click through here right in the post where it says learn more. And I have a blog post with a supply list that has photos. So it's got all the photos of everything we're using today. Now what we're going to need next to make this circle that you see our little critter on is one of these dies. And these are called the Stylish Shapes dies. And if you've ever seen any of my videos before, you may have heard me say they are my favorite dies. They might not look the most interesting of all the dies, but I use them all the time on almost everything because they're so helpful any time of year. So I use this one here that fits that little circle. And they're just always helpful to use. So I really, really like those dies and use them a lot. So if you're just buying dies for the first time, a multi-purpose set like that is a really, really good one to have. Oh, so here, I'll take you through the making of the sandwich again. So you have plate number 1, you got your 2 plates number 2, you're gonna make the sandwich in between. Plate number 2 on the bottom, our bread. And then we're going to put our paper, then we're gonna put our die cutting side down, and then our other plate number 2, which is the top bread for us, and then the filling inside is our die and our paper. So we're gonna push it through till it catches. Then I'm going to press down with my other hand to hold the machine in place. It has little feet that grip a surface underneath it, and then we wind it through. Okay, so we're just going to flip up these plates, make it all small again, and I'll put it aside for now. And we have our beautiful circle with these little holes around the edge just for a decorative touch. So very nice. And now we can go ahead and do our stamping as well. Okay, so here's our little die cuts, and here is what we want to stamp first. Okay, so we're going to get out our stamp that we've already got on our block. We're going to use Cherry Cobbler. And this is fun because I often use Cherry Cobbler just at Christmas time, and so it's really nice when you can find another use for it in another time of year. Oops, I guess I didn't push that onto the block enough. I'm just gonna fix that. Needed to stick it on the block a little more securely there. So I'll wash that off and we'll start that one again here. Okay, so I'm gonna push that down there. And we're gonna press it hard. There we go. That'll work. So we're just going to tap. Now, if you've never used one of these stamp pads before, the urge for most people who are new to them is to squish hard into it. And actually, all that will do is get ink all over your block. See how I got a little bit on the edge up here? You don't need to press that hard. So let me show you again how I do it. So I tap firmly, but just lightly several times. So tap, tap, tap. Okay, and then you can see through this photopolymer stamp whether it's covered. And then we're going to just stamp it right on there. I love these stamps you can see through because then you know exactly what you're getting when you're stamping. You do need to hold it down for several seconds for the ink to transfer onto the paper. That doesn't apply so much if you have the red rubber stamps, but these ones, it just takes a little while for the ink to transfer. But look at that nice image we got. Isn't that cute? So again, that was using the deeply discounted hot air balloon stamp set and hot air balloon dies. So those are super cheap right now, $16.80 for one of them and $16.40 for the other one, Canadian funds. So they're a really, really good deal. And I always like to clean up all my ink right away and put away my stamps so that I do not lose them, because these clear ones are really easy to lose. All right, whoops, I think I got that upside down. No, maybe I had it the right way the first time. Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, so we're gonna just stick that on there and put them onto the stamp case. And that's it for the hot air balloon stamps. So we've done all our die cutting, all our stamping. Now all we got to do is put the thing together. So let's get out the rest of our pieces here and we'll start working on all of it at the same time. Okay, so here we go. We have this panel of Storybook Moments paper. It's double-sided, so it's got a beautiful print on both sides. And this Storybook Moments paper actually also comes with die cuts. And let me just go grab the paper so you can see the other patterns too. So here we go. So here are some of the other patterns that you can get in the Storybook Moments paper. It's been a big hit with customers. They love these patterns because they're so cute. So here's the one we're using today. So it's got all these lovely vegetables on there. And then there's a page of these tags that you can cut out, or little mini panels. So this is half of one of those pages, but you can see what it looks like. I've used a lot of this particular pattern with the beautiful strawberries. And then on the back, you've got something else. So you've got all these cute little critters. They look kind of like Peter Rabbit or some of the sort of Victorian pictures. So I think people tend to really like those. There's a whole bunch of little pieces I've got. Here's another pattern. So this one's got all of the different gardening implements. And on the other side, kind of a more monochromatic one. And this really looks Victorian. Look at that, like a wallpaper or something. And you can see there's another pretty pattern. And on the other side, you've got some more of the little critters going about their day. And then you've got this one where they're out in the garden planting. And that's the other side of the strawberry paper. So you get all these different patterns that are double-sided. Plus they give you 2 entire sheets of the die cuts. And these die cuts, you don't have to do a thing to get them ready. They come pre-cut for you. So let me just carefully remove this so I can show you. I've got a page of them in here intact just so I can show you what they look like. So here they come. Sorry for the mess here for a minute. So we get them all out. So here's a 12 by 12 sheet of them, and you get 2 sheets of these. So you can see all of them. They're all in there and they're so cute. And here's one that's just dying to come out already. So you can see how easily they punch out. It's so easy. You just pull them out with your fingers like this, and then they're ready to use. So it makes it super easy to make a card. And you don't have to color anything either. They're just all set and ready to go. Okay, so now that you are oriented to that, let's put together our card. So I'm just going to glue this on. So you could use this Stampin' Seal tape glue, if you like, which does have a replaceable piece inside that's less expensive than buying a whole new one. It's super easy to change. Or you could use a multi-purpose liquid glue. So these are all from Stampin' Up. Anything I show you is going to be from Stampin' Up, unless it's something Stampin' Up does not sell, in which case I'll tell you, but almost always everything I have is from Stampin' Up because they have very high quality standards, and I really like that they stand by their products. I was lucky enough to visit their factory a couple of years ago, and I kind of saw how they made things there and the great care and pride that they take with everything that they make. So it was a really, really neat visit. So we put that on there. And then what we'll do next is put it on the next card. So I'm going to flip that over and use another one of the Stampin' Up things, which is these little hexagons. So these are called Stampin' Dimensionals. And I really like them because they raise up your project and kind of give it some depth. I really like that. So maybe you can let me know in the comments. Are you new to Stampin' Up? Do you know and use their products? I would love to hear what you think of Stampin' Up. There are lots of companies out there, but Stampin' Up's been going for about 37 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so they have some real longevity in the industry now. Now I'm just going to fold this over. I did have this pre-scored with my scoring blade. And this is just a half of an 8.5 by 11 page. So all very simple measurements for this. I don't think I said, but this panel, this panel here is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I did this one, and I believe this panel of the pattern paper is 2 3/4 by 4. I think so. But if you need the actual dimensions, just send me a message and I can check them for you and make sure we've got those right. Okay. There are kind of standard card dimensions that you use. I find it helps to kind of know some of those. Basically, you just create panels that keep reducing by 1/4 inch. And then you can put them together that way. Okay, so let's stick that on. So we've got the whole thing built now. And so we can kind of place these and figure out where we want them to go. Now this is the die cut I've chosen for today, but I've got a whole other set of them here. So you could use anything you wanted, really. And it depends on what kind of occasion that you've got. I like this one. This is one of my very favorite ones. Isn't that cute, that little duck? I love that one. But it didn't really fit the card that I was doing here today. I wanted one that had some gardening stuff to go with all the vegetables here. Okay, so let's use our dimensionals again. And I just put 3 on a circle like this, and that usually does it. Put a couple on the back of my die cut that I made here. And we'll put a couple on our little critter here. And pretty soon we'll be almost done. So this is a really easy stamping card. It's super simple for that. And I find that the simple cards are the ones that I really enjoy the most. It's fun to learn new techniques, but that doesn't mean that you have to make a really super complicated card. I find that's a bit intimidating to sit down and spend hours on one card. But I like these little simple ones that really anybody can put together once they understand how it's done. So I think that's cool if you can help everybody to figure out how to do it. All right, here we go. Let's stick that little guy on there. And on here you can see I have these little embellishments as well. So here's the embellishments I'm using. They are called Starburst Sequins. So they do come in like a purple, a yellow, and a white. And see how they're kind of shiny? And they've got a bit of embossing in them as well to kind of make them look like, well, they say starburst, but they sort of look like flowers to me a little bit. They're quite cute anyways. And I think that they add a little something extra to our project today. So let's see here. We'll put that on. And that, my friends, is the end of our super easy project here. Only one little bit of stamping. I did some die cutting and basically then just kind of stuck it all together. So you get a nice result without tons and tons of time or effort here. So again, this was called the Storybook Moments paper. The sale items, if you're interested in them, were the hot air balloon stamp set and hot air balloon dies. And again, you can click through to my website and you'll see a supply list there with all the information, and it opens right into my store when you click on the items. So it's easy to purchase them if you're interested. If you don't already have a demonstrator, I would be delighted to help you with your crafting needs. Just send me a message and we can chat. All right, thanks so much for joining me today, everybody, and have a wonderfully crafty weekend. Bye for now.